So should I go ahead and get started?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our webcamp session on tools for capturing and tracking researcher publications. The slides will be shared with people later, but there's a link to a resource handout, which I've also shared in the chat, so you can get to it now if you'd like. So I'm Amanda Woodward. I'm the Web Services Librarian at the Lane Medical Library here at Stanford. And I'm joined today by Ola Gary, the Senior Web Developer for the Otolaryngology Head and Neck Surgery Department, as well as Lily Wren, the Research Communications Librarian, also at the Lane Medical Library, and Irina Zaks, Web Developer for Fibonacci Web Studio and the Stanford Open Web Labs. So to discuss a little bit about the agenda for today, this panel was really born out of an experience that Olya had while she was working with publications and posting them on the web. And she turned to librarians at the Lane Medical Library for help and realized that some of the tools that researchers frequently use when they're working with publications could also be helpful for her workflow. So today we're going to discuss some of those tools, and we'll start with Olya describing a bit about the context and the situation that she encountered. And then Lily will demonstrate some search tools for finding publications specifically by author. And then I'll discuss a free software called Zotero, which works really well for dealing with all of the publication information that you need for creating citations. And it has a plugin for WordPress, which Irina is going to demonstrate, so you can see how it works well with WordPress sites. And then I'll wrap up the presentation by sharing some best practices to consider when posting publication information online, because there are some copyright concerns and things like that that you want to be aware of. So to get started, I'll pass it over to Olya to talk a little bit about the situation she encountered.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Amanda, for the introduction. Yeah, so as Amanda mentioned, I'm a web designer and I support the second largest department in the School of Medicine, Otolaryngology Head and Neck Surgery. So besides the main website for 3 clinics, residency program, and a lot of other things, I have about 20 independent research lab websites. Each of them is a separate WordPress instance. And about a month ago, I was building the site that you're currently seeing on your screen. And as almost every other lab, they want to have their publications available online on their website. So they sent me about 10 full text articles as PDF. So I received these 10 attachments. And my first reaction was, thank goodness it's not 10 papers. Then I started thinking, should I spend a few hours or like many hours trying to compile the reference list, or there might be a better way of approaching this problem? Because not only I would have to search for the proper articles and links to them from those PDFs, but I would also have to construct a properly cited list of those publications. So I reached out to my former colleagues, because I used to work at the Lane Library, and I asked them how, well, it was more frantically than just how can I do this? And it was a scream on Slack, please tell me if there's any way you can save me a few hours of my life. And wonderfully, there turned out to be a much easier way than I expected. I was so surprised, and it was very quick. And maybe, Amanda, if you could go to next slide. So that's how the publications currently look on the website. I had to enter them manually, and Irina is going to talk about how to automate this. But at least I was able to do this within, to create this list within a few minutes. And that's how the idea for this cross-professional session has started. So having said that, I'm going to pass it on to Lily so she can talk a little bit about the searching for publications.
So Lily, I think you're unmuted.
Yes, I believe so.
Okay.
Can you see my screen okay?
Yes, I can. Can others? Yes? Okay, good.
So like Amanda said, my name is Lily and I'm the Research Communications Librarian at Lane Medical Library. So today I'm here to sort of demo some tools that you can use to search for publications by author across a few platforms. While it may sound very simple and straightforward, there are some nuances. To start, I'll give a brief primer on different resources and tools available to you through the Lane Medical Library, as well as the Stanford University libraries. There are different databases and citation indices supplied by different vendors, some of the ones that you see on the screen now. If you ever encounter Web of Science, Scopus, Embase, Medline, Pubmed, or ERIC in your work, those are all examples of databases. Some of these databases and citation indices are specific to a discipline, such as Embase, Medline, ERIC, and Pubmed, or multidisciplinary, such as Web of Science and Scopus. Each of these databases and indices will have different coverage too, meaning that it indexes a select number of journals for a given time frame. With that being said, if you want to create a comprehensive list of publications either by an author or a domain, you do need to search across different databases and platforms, merging the records and then removing the duplicates. Some of the databases that I will demonstrate are Pubmed, Scopus, and Web of Science. When searching for literature by an author name, it is important to distinguish the body of research and scholarly works from other authors. This can be challenging for authors with common surnames and the various ways of denoting a person's name. One common way, and this is pretty much embedded across most of the platforms out there, is to disambiguate authors using a persistent 16-digit identifier called ORCID. This is assigned to an individual and it stays with that individual for the rest of their life. It eliminates author name ambiguity and improves discoverability of one's work. ORCID is used by editors, funding agencies, publishers, and institutions to reliably identify individuals in the same way that you see being done with articles through DOIs or books through ISBNs. In addition, most databases will also have their own algorithm for disambiguation in addition to ORCID, and you'll see some of that when we go through some of the demos. The example I'll be using today is Dr. Rosenthal and his ORCID ID and his Stanford profile is listed on the slide on the screen right now. To access most of these databases, you can go through the Lane Medical Library, or you can use the university library's homepage. Let's jump into Pubmed first. So you can access Pubmed through the link on the Lane Medical Library. While Pubmed is free, you can access Pubmed through Lane to automatically link publication to Lane's catalog. You can use either the legacy version, which is the version that you see now, or if you click on this big blue screen, it will lead you to the new Pubmed. So sometime towards the end of the year, the legacy version will no longer exist. And anytime you click on Pubmed, it will take you to that new Pubmed interface. So for that reason, I'll be demoing the new Pubmed interface today. To search for an author, you would need to go into advanced search. And then you'll be taken to this query box where you can select different fields. So say if we want to search by an author, then you can select the author field and then type in the last name, followed by the first name or first name and initial. So let's add that to the search, and you can see that an author field has been tagged to that search string. Then if you click on search, most of his articles should show up in your results. And you can click through to verify that it is the person that you're looking for by looking at the affiliations. And you can just click on affiliations to expand the list to see. At this point, if you're only looking to export an individual article, you can do so from this screen by clicking on Send To Citation Manager, and they'll give you an option to export through RIS. Now, if you want to select multiple articles, then you can head back to the search results page, and you can go ahead and select as many as you like. You can click Send To Citation Manager again to pull those citations. Now, if you're doing multiple searches at a time, you can actually send them to your clipboard so they can be saved in a folder until you're ready to export everything you've placed in that folder. So this is really helpful if you're searching for multiple topics or multiple authors at a time. Since 2015, Pubmed has also been indexing ORCIDs as well. However, it's important to remember that ORCIDs are supplied by journal publishers who use them, and they're mainly maintained by the authors themselves. The authors will have to ensure that their ORCID account is up to date with their list of publications. So when you see, so let's try searching for Dr. Rosenthal's ORCID ID, which is listed here. We can go into advanced search again. And then in the drop-down field, you can select author identifier. You can type in those, I think it's missing one. Click on search, and it'll bring up all the articles that are tied with that ORCID ID. And so you can see there's only 2 articles, and he's definitely published more than 2. So this again goes back to my point that ORCID IDs are managed by the authors themselves, and they're supplied by publishers who use them. So when you're searching for ORCID ID, you always want to make sure that you go in and check to see if all the publications are linked to the author. So generally, this is how you can search for an author or an author's identifier or ORCID ID through Pubmed. So let's jump back to the next database, which is Scopus. So Scopus has a strong social science, arts, and humanities coverage, but it lacks in historical coverage. It does really well in author disambiguation, and this is because they work really hard on their algorithm to do that. Nearly all of web and science, which I will demo after Scopus, can be found in Scopus as well. And Scopus provides a lot of good metadata for indexing articles, which allows you to easily search for them. So similar to Pubmed, to search for an author, you can simply just toggle to the authors tab. And this is where you can put in various content. So you can put in the author's last name like so, and then click on enter their affiliation if known. Alternatively, you can just search for the author's last name along with the first name or initial. So let's try that. So once you type in the author's name, it'll actually give you a list based on affiliation. Now you can see that Dr. Rosenthal has 3 records, one that's tied with Stanford, one tied with University of Michigan, and one tied with Stanford again. Usually these, if they are the same person, which we know in this case, all 3 of them are, it just means that this is one way that Scopus is sort of differentiating between the different affiliations as well as the different positions that Dr. Rosenthal has taken over the past years. Sometimes there will be authors that have the same name but share different affiliations, and this is one page that you can go through and sort of select and make sure that you pick the right person. So let's say we want to see Dr. Rosenthal's records. You can click so by clicking on the documents. and it'll give you a list of all the documents affiliated with his name. You can see that in Scopus, there's also another identifier, and this is exclusive to Scopus. And again, you can select these articles to add them to a list to save them later to be exported, or you can export them directly by clicking on the export button and selecting RAS for Zotero. If you want to search by ORCID ID, again, you can now navigate back to the search page and enter the ORCID ID instead. In this case, his ORCID ID should show that there is no record, and this again goes back to the fact that different databases will index different literature, as well as ORCID IDs are maintained by the authors themselves. So the last database I'll be demoing is Web of Science. Like Scopus, Web of Science is an interdisciplinary database, which also covers the arts, humanities, and social sciences. However, Web of Science is fairly new with author disambiguation. You can see the author tab has a beta icon at the top, which just shows that they are still working on this product. They rely heavily on publishers to deposit the material. So if publishers place an author disambiguation, they will be able to index it in their database. If not, then it wouldn't be there. The coverage for Web of Science is also considerably more comprehensive than that of Scopus, and they just provide a better historical depth. And this is only important if you're looking for articles past a certain period in time, and I believe that's the 1970s. To search for an author in Web of Science, again, you can select the specific field. If you don't see it listed there, you can also search for it as well. So in this case, we're looking for author. You can type in the last name followed by the first name and/or initials, and then click search. Web of Science is really slow over the past couple days, so this might take a while, but it's very similar to the demo that we had in Scopus, where you can search for the author last name as well as the ORCID ID, and you can do that by selecting author ID. So again, in Web of Science, you can select for one article to be exported, or you can select multiple, add them to a list to export later on, or you can export them directly through RAS. So let's go back and just do one last search using the ORCID ID. It's a little bit slow on my end, but you get the gist of it. So searching by author, as well as searching by an author ID, such as ORCID, is available across most of these platforms. You can also use wildcards to replace letters with unknowns. So for example, if you don't know the combination in which the author's last name as well as first name appear, you can use wildcards. Sometimes spelling as well. If you don't know if it's spelled a certain way, you can use wildcards to replace those unknowns. You can also search for multiple authors at a time, and you can enter those by separating author names with "or." If you have any questions about advanced author searching, feel free to type them into the chat box, and I'll address them towards the end of the workshop. But you can also feel free to reach out to myself, any Lane librarian, including Amanda, or any other Stanford University libraries to better understand advanced searching on these platforms. I will hand it off to Amanda, who will talk about exporting and importing articles into Zotero.
Great, thank you, Lily, for that presentation about searching for authors. That's really good to know about different search tools if you are asked to put publications on the web, or if your department or lab that you're serving does so, and you want to think about ways of streamlining that process and being able to search for things. So now I'm going to be talking about Zotero, which is the program that Olya used when she had a PDF or a folder of PDFs that she wanted to quickly get the article metadata for and be able to present on the web. You see my screen here, you can see this is the list of publications on the Rosenthal Web Labs website. And this list is generated using a program like Zotero, which is a type of reference manager. So Zotero is a free tool that you can download if you go to zotero.org, and it's used by researchers primarily to collect, organize, cite, and share research. And if you hit download, you want to make sure that you get both pieces of the program when you download it. So there is a desktop software that you can download for whatever platform you're using. But in addition, you want to get the Zotero browser connector because this makes it easy to import things from the web, which I'll show you how to do later. And while you're going ahead and downloading things and setting up your Zotero software, it's a good idea too to register for an account. You'll see this register link in the top right. And this is important because you can connect your software program to your account, and then it will sync to the web. So you'll be able to access a copy of whatever citations you put into your library on the web version of Zotero, as well as on your desktop program. It makes a good backup, and it also helps when you're using the plugin that Irina will go over later for WordPress. So you want to make sure to set up this account. So once you've downloaded the program, downloaded the browser plugin, and set up your account, you can open Zotero, and it will look like this the first time you open it. So there is a quick start guide, which I've also linked to in our resource handout, which will go over the functionalities of Zotero. But today I wanted to give you a quick overview and show you some of the things that you can use it for, just so you get an idea of how the program can save you a lot of time. So the first thing I'll show is where you go to set up the sync for your account. There's a direct link here, but if for whatever reason you start using the program and haven't set that up, you go to Edit and Preferences. And this is an important place to know about in Zotero because a lot of the settings for the software are here. So you're going to want to be able to access it. So under Sync, once you open the preferences, you'll see here I have my account linked. It has my account name, A. Woodward. But if you're doing this for the first time, there'll be an option to link the account that you registered online here. And then you can choose to sync it automatically. Okay, so now we have our program up and running and we're ready to start adding publications to it. So I'm going to show you 3 different ways that you can go about getting publications into the program, and it's really dependent upon your use case and how publications are being tracked and captured within your department. So the first thing I'll start with is the example that Olya encountered, where she had a folder of PDFs that she wanted to quickly get information on. So you can imagine that you got a folder like this Rosenthal Lab PDFs folder that had a collection of PDFs that may have many different naming conventions depending on where they were downloaded and pulled from. And you want to be able to quickly get all of the data necessary to create citations. So Zotero is really cool because you can actually just select all of the PDFs within a folder and drag them over. You can see we have 8 here. And then it will start to automatically retrieve the metadata for the PDFs that I've entered. So you can see here, it's transitioning those PDFs into Zotero records that have information, including the title, the author, the year, what journal something's published in, all of those details that you're going to need to create an accurate citation. And that happened automatically. You can see if we click on one, we have the record here over on the right that has all of those pieces of metadata that you need. And these are all fields that you can edit. So if something is incorrect or you need to change it, you can just type into them as well. If that doesn't happen automatically, You can right click on a PDF and make it happen. So I'll show you what that looks like. I'll just undo the metadata retrieval. So for this PDF, say for whatever reason, the automatic retrieval didn't happen of the metadata, you can right click on it and say retrieve metadata for the PDF, and it will go through that same process. So that's a super easy way to get everything that you need. Additionally, you can add things to your Zotero library by unique identifiers. And you do that using this little magic wand tool up here. If I click on that, it will ask me for something like a DOI for an article or a Pubmed ID number. And so if you have a list of those things from your department, you can enter it here and it will pull them for you. So for example, I'll just go ahead and grab the DOI for this first article that we have. And again, you could have a whole list of these, but I'll just do one and enter it here. And then you can see it turned green because it found something. And now I have 2 copies of that first article in my library. Another way that you can do importing into your Zotero library is to pull things directly from the web. So I'll go ahead and go to the article page for the first article. So here you could be on the article through the publisher, you could be on a Pubmed record, you could be in one of the databases that Lily demonstrated, Scopus or Web of Science. And when you're on a page that has an article, if you've installed the browser plugin, you're going to see an icon up here. It's a little paper icon if you're on a journal article. And if you click on that, you'll be able to save something to your Zotero library. So you can see it's saying, go to my Zotero library. And then if I go over, I now have 3 copies of that first article. So those are 3 ways that you can pull things into Zotero depending on what you're given from your department. And if you do get duplicates in your library, it's very easy to get rid of them. You just go to duplicate items. I see that I have 3 of this article and I can choose to merge the 3 items together. Now, if I go back to my library, I just have 1. Additionally, you can create some folders within here. So if you're working with multiple departments and you want to keep things separated, you just go under My Library, right click, and you can create a new collection. I'll just say Rosenfeld Lab. And then if I wanted to pull these in, I can select them all and just drag them into that folder. And they're there. Additionally, if I wanted to create collections like for a particular department, I could create subfolders under that for particular researchers or however you need to organize things as you're working on it. And then you can again just drag and drop individual articles or a group of articles into different folders. And it's nice because it doesn't make a duplicate in your overall library, but does allow you to save a copy of an article, say it was by researcher A, but they also worked in the Rosenfeld lab. I can have that saved in both places. Okay, so then once all the information is in Zotero, it's nice because you can create an output in many different citation styles. So you can figure out what citation style your department wants to use. And then creating a bibliography is as easy as selecting all of the articles and going to edit, copy bibliography. And I'll just show you what it looks like in Word. I had copied it previously. But if I just paste, there's a bibliography here. And you want to note what style it is in. So this one right now is in APA style, but you'll want to know what format your department wants. And the way to change the format is, again, over in Edit and Preferences. This is where all your settings are for the program. Under Export, you can choose whatever style you want. So there's a drop down. So say I needed American Medical Association, I could choose that instead. If the style that you need is not in this drop down, don't despair. There's additional styles that you can add to the program. You just go to Site, and then you can choose Get Additional Styles and search the Zotero database of thousands of styles to add. And then go back to Export, choose whatever style. You also have the option to copy as HTML, which might be useful depending on where you're planning on pasting the bibliography. But once the data is in Zotero, you can output bibliographies in all different styles and formats. So it's really useful to use a tool like this and be able to have all the data saved in a way that makes it quicker to produce those bibliographies. So at this point, I'll turn it over to Irina, who can talk about how this can work in conjunction with WordPress using a plugin.
Hello, hi everyone. I'm going to share my screen, hoping that I'm going to share correct screen. And I will use this time to reasonably quickly go through steps that I make to integrate my Zotero library, which I have in here, with the new website that we are building for Rosenthal Pro. First step would be to add Zotero plugin. In order for that, if you're working in WordPress, you should go to step Add New Plugin, look for Zotpress, and then you need to activate it. Next step is you need to configure it. And for that, you need to add accounts. And when you're adding account that is defined here in your Zotero library, because once you've added an account, it is very hard to identify it either by user ID or by private key if you don't have a nickname. Once you added your account, you can now browse publications that you have in your Zotero library that are automatically imported into your WordPress site with this magical plugin. You can search by tags. There's other configuration options that replicate what you have in your Zotero library. The next step that you want to do would be going and actually adding these publications to different pages. This is where you can define your primary account, and great thing about it that you can add Zotero accounts from different people. For example, if you're building a website for a larger group where different publications for different people can be combined, you can choose different accounts. You can add multiple accounts, and then publications will be combined through same Zotero import. Then you can define where you want to have ability to add short code. And then here you can set your default style. This setting can be overwritten when we are actually adding publications. So the next step would be, once you are ready to add publications to your post, you can create new post. And I'm going to be working through with existing post, but you have the same thing in the new one. So here are a couple of ways to add your publications. One thing that I need to note that this is under document, not under blog. And so if for some reason you're here, you don't know where to go, you need to click back to document. So in addition to standard WordPress, you have now Zotpress reference drop down. And then here is where you can begin searching for publications that you want to add in a particular place. So on this post, I wanted to add a couple of examples. So first one was, I wanted to just simply put the entire bibliography without any additional comments. And you have seen that I defined MLA as my default citation, so I can copy this publication. I can add it in here. This is MLA style citations, and then I'm going to publish it. And then on this post, you can see all publications in the MLA style. However, originally, I wanted to have them in a different style. And that is something that I can change by either selecting style here, or I can go back and select it in a drop-down. The next thing that you might want to do is you might want to put just one publication. Let's say using near, try to pick up publication where I can recognize at least some of the words in the title. And so here is, I remember that in the title of the publication, I have had words using near something. So I select this publication, there's one publication, and I say generate shortcode. And this would be the shortcode for this one publication. You can also do additional, you have additional options that you can include. And if you generate this code, then this is something that you can put on any of your pages. If you're not familiar with the concept of shortcodes, that is something that WordPress is using and many other systems to translate English into HTML using citations. And here you have publication with additional option, like here you have abstract and here you have option to cite. Next option here is to select number of publications. You can filter by year, you can filter by author, and you can decide in what order you want to show this publication. And then the last thing I want to show on using this plugin today is that you can take the generated shortcode and put it into the widget that you can display only on a particular, and select where you want to display it. So now here, if we go here, you have example publication displayed in the area of your website. So this is introduction to Zotpress, and I want to give the screen back to Lily and Amanda to talk about copyright issues. And you have any questions, feel free to email, or we also have a WordPress channel where it can be discussed.
Thanks, Irina. So I'll wrap up the session just by talking about some best practices when it comes to copyright and sharing publications online. So I've included a link to the Stanford Library's copyright information. It's also in our resource handout. They have some good common scenarios and best practices that they recommend. But what's really relevant to our talk today is the best practice of linking to an article using a persistent URL, something like a digital object identifier or DOI, instead of posting full text PDFs. And you want to do that because we have access to lots of content at Stanford through the Stanford libraries and all the licenses that we maintain. And it might not be clear what things you're able to freely share on the web. Additionally, if the faculty member or author shares PDFs with you directly, that doesn't necessarily mean that you can post those because they have different author agreements and they might not be able to share those openly on the web, depending on what those author agreements state. And so the best way to avoid any copyright issues is to link rather than post PDFs. And when you link, you can use the digital object identifier, and it will allow people to get to the full text based on its availability and their individual credentials. So the DOI is commonly available along the top of an article or somewhere on the first page. It's also picked up by Zotero in that metadata retrieval, so it should be in your Zotero records. And if you have trouble finding it, you can go to crossref.org. They're the organization that maintains DOIs, and you can see the screenshot at the bottom of this slide. You choose search metadata and then enter the title or the author, whatever information you have about the article, and you'll be able to find out if there's a DOI for it that way. So that wraps our session. At this point, we'd like to take questions either through chat or if you'd like to unmute and share a question. You can also reach out to us because all of these situations of posting publications online are going to be very individualized to how departments work. And so know that the library, whether Stanford Libraries or the Lane Medical Library, can be a resource to you.
Okay, so Sharice has a question. This was in chat, so Irina has kind of answered some of her earlier questions, but this is related to Drupal and the biblio module. So her question is, does biblio integrate with other sites than Pubmed? And this is from a conversation where she was asking earlier if biblio has plugins if Drupal has a plugin for Zotero as well. So
the answer is yes. Biblio integrates very well with any publications in any of the standard formats like BibTeX and RIS, and Stanford site has biblio module included in the stack. So the answer is yes.
And Sharice, just so you know, I can help you with that. Sharice and I are going to have a one-on-one separately, and I've worked with both these Zotero and biblio, so we can talk about that offline if you want. Unless you have more questions here, because there are a lot of people that can answer them. So Nick has a question. How about Drupal 8? Ooh, good question. I don't know that one.
This is a very good question. There are lots of new modules that are being developed for Drupal 8. There's a number of Drupal 8 modules that are related to publications, but most of it is work in progress. And I think there are going to be next 6 months, there are going to be a lot of modifications to what is in the stack or not in stack, and what has, you know, which biblio related modules for Drupal 8 will be leading the curve.
Great. Another question, is it possible to transfer references from Mendeley to Zotero? The issue is, the issue they're having is the metadata in Mendeley library is incomplete for some papers, but it seems Zotero can fill it out automatically. Which software is better?
Yeah, so it's really a choice of preference around which software you want to use. I think Zotero is pretty robust, but you're always going to run into some articles that you just don't have the full metadata for, and it depends on where you initially got the PDF. And so it is possible to transfer between them. You can always export from one reference manager in the RIS format and then import it into another reference manager using that format. The RIS file is something that is standard across these different softwares. And if you have questions about doing things like this, you can reach out to the library, and we answer these types of questions and help researchers think through which software they want to use often.
Great. Thanks. That was really great, you guys. That was very informative. I've used Zotero before, and that was like way beyond. So that was really great. Thank you so much. If there's no other questions, we're pretty much at the end of our time. But I encourage you to reach out to these guys. They know lots of great things, or the libraries. And at the very top of the chat, if you want to click on that link before I close the meeting, is the resource handout that Amanda shared. Thanks, you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna close the session now. I copied the URL, and I'm gonna post that in the session so that it'll be, the link will be there, the resource handout.
Okay, great. Thank you for doing